You're watching It's Your Money, and I'm in the studio with Pat Barrett with Tafoya Barrett Associates, and we've talked about the need for estate planning and wills in this show before, but today we're going to talk about what you do if you receive an inheritance and what are some of the things you should consider. So what are some of the things you should consider?
Well, Deb, I think, first, obviously, you need to determine, what assets you might receive through the inheritance. And another thing that is usually a little bit more complicated than you think it would be the timing of when you're going to receive those assets. Even in the simplest estate, it seems to always take longer than you think it should for the estate to be administered to the point where the assets can ultimately be distributed out to the heirs. So there may be a time lag as well as identifying, what assets you're actually going to receive.
Well, there's, you can sell a house. There's also waiting till your IRAs get transferred. Some companies only disperse stock dividends a certain time of year. So why is it important to understand when and how you're going to get those assets?
Well, you want to try to plan ahead as best you can. Oftentimes when you find yourself in this situation, perhaps it's been due to a sudden death. And, the family obviously is dealing with a lot of emotional aspects, and rightfully so at that time. So it's difficult to kind of plan ahead. But, you really need to allow yourself time to grieve, obviously, but then the time does come to try to get a handle on what's at stake, what's involved, when are the assets again going to be transferred.
Are there tax implications for timing?
Yes, there can be. There's not only estate tax issues that you might have to deal with, but there's also income tax issues. There's sort of a series of potential tax returns that need to be filed. The first one is the final individual tax return of the deceased individual, and then there may be tax return that needs to be filed for the estate during the administration period. If there's any income that the assets are generating during that administration, sort of between the date of death and between the time that the assets are distributed out to the ultimate beneficiary, the estate may have an income tax filing requirement. And then, of course, if some of the assets are passed out to the beneficiaries may have to pay some income tax on the income that was earned post date of death.
And how do you deal with the money or the assets once you have them? I mean, I know that there's a tendency to want to spend some cash if you've got it right away. That's probably not a good idea, is it?
It really isn't. You really want to try to avoid that temptation to, take a long overdue vacation, or perhaps, put a lot of money into, fixing up or remodeling your home if it is in need of some repair. You want to kind of take those assets that you're going to be receiving through the inheritance into your overall financial plan and your financial goals. And you want to kind of really coordinate them with your existing assets, and want to make sure that you plan ahead for your own future, whether that be retirement or perhaps college education, for your kids. So you want to kind of avoid that temptation to be somewhat frivolous, with the inheritance.
We were talking earlier that you shouldn't keep your assets for sentimental reasons. Why is that?
Well, and it kind of depends on the assets. Obviously, if there's some heirlooms in the family, whether it be furniture, jewelry, something of that nature, obviously those things oftentimes carry, high sentimental value. And I think it's fine from a financial perspective to hold on to those assets. But sometimes we find that people inherit financial assets that, oddly enough, have some sentimental value to them. Perhaps, a situation where your grandfather was instrumental in starting a corporation decades ago, 40, 50 years ago, and, owns some stock in that corporation, and that corporation is very near and dear to the family. And you could kind of find yourself in a situation where where that stock has become very valuable over that time, and you kind of have yourself in a situation where you potentially have all your eggs in one basket. So it may make sense to try to, as difficult as it may be, to liquidate some of those assets and diversify them into a broader based portfolio. And perhaps you could still hold on to some of those assets for sentimental reasons, but make sure that the amount that you're holding on to kind of fits into your overall financial goals and objectives.
And what about those tax implications?
That's kind of the number one question that we receive from people who are going to receive an inheritance. Am I going to have to pay tax on this? Because oftentimes, the dollar amount can be substantial. And generally speaking, an inheritance and receiving an inheritance in and of itself is not a taxable transaction. Usually the assets that one receives through inheritance are adjusted, their cost basis is adjusted up to fair market value on date of death. And so even if those assets are sold in short order after the date of death, there's very little income tax ramifications. However, there are some assets that do carry some income tax implications with them. And the perfect example is an IRA. If someone passes away with an IRA and that IRA is transferred to the beneficiary, when the beneficiary begins to draw on that IRA, they will ultimately pay income tax on the full amount. So that could catch some people off guard.
What about houses? I recently sold my mother-in-law's house, and we sold it 4 years after she died. And so now we're having to figure out what the estate earned in capital gains.
Yeah, the way that's kind of dealt with, again, you would adjust the tax basis in that house up to the fair market value on date of death, and the estate would only have to pay capital gains tax on appreciation that occurred subsequent to the date of death. So, in this case, over that 4-year period. And if the property happened to go down in value over that 4-year period, it would be essentially a loss, a tax loss, and not a gain.
And so if with capital gains like that, if you hold on to an asset like that a little bit too long, will you really catch it in the what?
Well, potentially, but the way we often look at it is you don't want, the expression we use is the tax tail to wag the dog. And basically what that means is, if you've been fortunate enough to hold a piece of property for a period of time and it's appreciated significantly, and you sell that at a tax gain, the tax is based on a percentage. And capital gains tax rates are relatively low, anywhere from 15 to 25%, depending on the income level and what state you happen to be in. So you're able to hold on to 75% of that appreciation. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
All right. Well, thank you very much. If you'd like to know what to do with your inheritance, be sure to give Pat a call or get online at tafoyabarrett.com. I'm Deborah Uroda for It's Your Money.